Well, welcome to day 15 of the 21 Days of Goals. Today, we are going to look at chapter 15, which is titled, Remove the Roadblocks. I don't know about you, but when I started setting these goals, I immediately started to notice how many roadblocks there were that were getting in the way. And this is a chapter that's going to help us understand what we can do about that and how we can take action. It actually starts with a powerful quote from Joyce Brothers that says, "The person interested in success has to learn to view failure as a healthy, inevitable part of the process of getting to the top." This quote makes me think of Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work." And when it came to the light bulb, which is what he was talking about, it ultimately became a success. But the truth is that successful people fail far more than unsuccessful people. So if that's true, then why do they experience success? Well, because they keep going, even when it gets hard, even when they face critical obstacles that seem to stand in the way. That leads me to my main takeaway from this chapter, and that is that failure is a natural and essential part of the process. The problem is unsuccessful people often quit too soon. And many times right before the breakthrough that they've been waiting for, because their failure is just too discouraging. But failure really isn't the problem. As Brian Tracy reminds us, it's our mindset that determines whether we push forward or we give up. So instead of focusing on what's going wrong, Brian Tracy challenges us to become solution-oriented people. Solution-oriented people are the type of people that ask, how can I solve this? Which is different than problem-oriented people. Problem-oriented people spend most of their time dwelling on what went wrong. So here's what we have to remember, and we talked about this very early on. What you focus on grows. So let's focus on the solutions and not the problems. One way to think about roadblocks is like construction zones on a highway. When you're driving, initially roadblocks and construction zones, they slow you down. They force you to take detours, or they could even stop you from moving temporarily. But roadblocks aren't permanent. And road construction is there to improve the road in the long term. It's a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. In the same way, roadblocks in life aren't there to stop us permanently either. They're there to teach us something, to redirect our path, or to prepare us for what's ahead. So if we stay patient and solution-oriented, we'll get through them and we'll continue on to our destination, which is the goals that we set. So let me give you a few takeaways from this chapter. The first is, we are often our biggest roadblock. On page 178, Brian Tracy says that we are usually the major roadblock that is setting the speed in which we achieve our goals. And he goes on to note that there are two major common culprits when it comes to slowing us down, and that is doubt and fear. I want to focus for a minute on doubt. Have you ever felt like you don't belong in the room? Like you're not skilled enough or knowledgeable enough? You have what we might call imposter syndrome. Yeah, this is a self-created roadblock. It's rooted in doubt. Brian Tracy reminds us in this section that we don't have to slow down to that speed. We don't have to slow down to imposter syndrome. No, the antidote here for doubt and fear is to develop courage and confidence. And that's where my second takeaway comes in, that courage and confidence come from action. On page 181, Brian Tracy says, set small goals, make plans, and then work at them every day. That's how you move forward. Just like building a muscle at the gym, you build courage and confidence over time with consistent effort. It's about showing up, taking the action, getting stronger. Showing up, taking the action, getting stronger. And over time, we start to notice the difference. It might not look completely different tomorrow, but over time, we will notice the improvement. My last takeaway is something called Name It and Reframe It. This is something that I love to do. On page 185, you see where Brian Tracy identifies it. He says, once you have determined the major obstacle that's holding you back, write the obstacle in a positive goal. This is the name it. This is identifying what the obstacle actually is. Sometimes we think everything is against us, but it's not true. There's certain things that are standing in the way, so we got to put a name on them. And then reframe. We got to reframe these, and that's why I like writing it in a positive sentence, because it'll move it from an obstacle to an opportunity. How can we use this to grow, to achieve our goals, and get to the next level? So let's look at our action steps on the very last page. Let's zero in on number 2. Look into yourself and face the possibility that your own fears and doubts are your biggest roadblocks to success. You know, what is the self-limiting belief that's holding you back? Have you thought about that lately? What are you telling yourself that isn't true? Often the first thing that comes to our mind is something that's surface level, but you got to dig deeper. You've got to uncover the full picture, and you got to work on reframing those beliefs into something positive and actionable. Well, chapter 15 reminds us that roadblocks aren't permanent. They're challenges for us to overcome, lessons for us to learn, and opportunities for growth. And we take advantage of those by identifying them, reframing those roadblocks, and building the courage and confidence that we need to move ahead. Well, tomorrow we're going to dive into chapter 16, all about creating plans and taking action. I look forward to seeing you then. Keep showing up. Keep working hard. I'll see you tomorrow.